Alright. I get people asking me constantly, are Milwaukee tools worth it? Well, the answer is, without a doubt, yes. These are four of the most common Milwaukee tools that I use. We have a 2408, which is 12-volt drill driver, variable speed. It's got a drill, self-tapping option, and a hammer drill as well. 275 inch-pounds of torque, which is roughly 23 foot-pounds. 2.3 pounds overall weight. Metal ratcheting chuck, LED light, and a battery gauge right on the side there. You can see battery's full. It's a 2601, which is, these are the 18-volt series. Roughly 35 foot-pounds of torque out of this. Half-inch chuck. It will take drill bits all the way up to half-inch in diameter. And variable speed, you got 500 and 1500 max RPM with no load on this one. We can see we got multiple speeds to choose from. We got ratcheting action out of this thing, all the way up to just straight drill, no nonsense. This is a 2650. It's an 18-volt, 5 3/4 inches long, 1400 foot-pounds of torque out of this thing, which is an insane 116 or 1400 inch-pounds of torque. Let me correct myself there, which is an insane 116 foot-pounds. That's over 100 foot-pounds out of this little thing. And that's just a 1/4 inch driver. That's this thing. You see a 3/8 chuck on there, but that's this thing. Just a 1/4 inch driver with over 100 foot-pounds on it. This is a 2663 half-inch drive, 18 volts, 8 7/16 inches long, 450 foot-pounds of torque, which is 5,400 inch-pounds if anybody cares. Now, these are by far the most comfortable, durable, and reliable cordless tools I have ever used. And I have used just about every brand and style that is commonly available. I've used Snap-on, DeWalt, Black & Decker, Ryobi, you name it, I've probably owned it and gotten rid of it. These are by far worth the money. They're expensive. You can get some secondhand, but if you find a good deal on them, absolutely pick them up. This thing will knock out suspension parts. It'll do axle nuts. It'll do crank bolts. It'll do, obviously, lug nuts. It'll do everything and more that you expect out of it. This thing, I have actually broken strut bolts. I've sheared them clean in half because I wasn't watching what I was doing when I was putting the suspension back together. This thing will... Strut bolts, let me tell you, are... see how big this thing is? Look, there's a Sharpie. This isn't a bolt from struts, but this is roughly the size of one. Actually, they're probably closer to this. I have broken bolts, just sheared them clean in half. This big around, hardened bolts with that thing. So you can imagine how much force that has to actually rip things out. This thing was advertised at 1,100 foot-pounds breakaway torque and 450 foot-pounds of just, everyday, normal, as you use it torque. The 1,100 foot-pounds, I do believe, was a max torque number. But as far as everything that I've needed for it to do, it has done flawlessly, and I am very, very happy with it. I have gotten calls quite often about people who could not get their tools, couldn't handle the job. I come out with this thing, and it rips it off like nobody's even tried already. So, are they worth the money? Are they, absolutely. If you're thinking about buying one, don't think any longer. Get your ass in the car and go get one. The other thing I like about Milwaukee tools is when you put a bit on them or a socket or do it, you can stand it up. A lot of tools have a hard enough time standing on their own and absolutely will not hold their own weight when you put something on the end. These will stand up, no problem. I've put extensions and deep well sockets and stuff on it and sat it down, and it stands up fine. You can't do that with a lot of other brands. And that, if you forget about that, you put it down and it drops and it damages something, and then you lose sockets, and you got to pay for things that you accidentally broke, and causes a whole lot of issues. These things are also built comfortably. You can look at this handle here. There's a nice soft grip here that's rounded out. So you can use this thing all day long without getting blisters or without, coming into sharp edges. or having a lot of issues that a lot of other brands have. So there's really nothing bad that I have to say about these tools. These are not the latest M18 Fuel series, which have the cordless, or not the cordless, the brushless motors in them. These aren't those. These are the ones right before that. So they're a little bit less expensive than that. But for me, these have done everything I have needed them to do and more. So, in my personal opinion, are Milwaukee tools worth it? Absolutely. Absolutely. Go out and get yourself some. They will. It's one of those things, you get it and you use it and you just wonder how you lived without it. So, there you go.